Hi there, I hope you're all doing well. Since I've finished off painting zombie side now, I may as well replace them with underworlds. Plus it gives me an extra excuse to paint some more orcs. So with that in mind, I grabbed Morgok and got started on his warband. He was black and white xanthine primed and I get all of the yellow armor base coated with golden brown. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. You can also join Discord using the link in the description, where you can share anything you have been hobbying on. Starting to bring up the yellow now, I went around with AK Interactive's yellow. This doesn't cover all that well as expected really, being a yellow, but that came in handy as it gets some variation into the panels. Finishing off the yellow armor, I grabbed pale yellow and just brought up the edges and tops of the panels where there is some texture sculpted in. To get these skins started, I base coated everything with Goblinoid green. pushing up the parts of the skin that are getting hit by the light, I went around with Troll Snot Green. Making the sharper edges of the face and hands pop out a little bit, I gave them a quick highlight with Pestilence Green. For the longest part of the mini now, all of the black armor, fabric and the base all get base coated with Doom Death Black. This took a good 10 minutes to get painted up as I have to be very careful around that yellow, so I have to sped this up to double my normal time. Getting the fabric and armor highlighted up now, I grabbed lead grey and started bringing up some of the areas facing upwards and the edges. While I wait for the leg grey to dry, I add some Berserker red to the blade handles and his top knot. The first highlight on the red now gets done with Sanguine Scarlet, going over pretty much everything, just leaving that darker tone in the recesses and shadowed parts. Finishing up the red and dotting in the eyes, I grabbed some Demon Red. Next up, I used Dungeon Stone Grey to add a quick highlight on the fabric parts, his nails, and then a rough dry brush on the base. Making the base even brighter, I dry brushed on some English grey, and since I had this out, I also went across the edges of the armour. Finishing the grey on the base, I went around with another dry brush of pale grey. This also goes around the very sharpest edges on the armour panels. With the grey finished, I get started on the weapon blades and wrappings with a base coat of burnt umber. starting to bring in some variation on the wrappings, I used Ares flesh, brought all these parts up, just leaving that darker brown between the wraps and in the recesses. All of his teeth and bone parts get done with Skeleton Legion now. To finish off the teeth and the bones, I went around with Grimy Grey and just brought up the sharper edges. Moving on to the metal parts, use Bitz tin for the detailing on these swords. The blades of these swords get a bit of a dry brush with Surcoat Silver. This is also used to go around the edges of the black armor, just in a few places that look like it's a bit more battle worn. For the washes, I start off with a purple tone wash over the base and into the recesses of the skin, just to darken down those shadows a little bit on the skin. For the bones and the shadows of the red parts, I went around with light tone wash. And that will be it for Morgok. He took a little bit longer than I expected to get painted up. He's about 2.5 hours to get to this stage. but I am putting that down to having to paint yellow and then black around that yellow. Either way, I like how he came out, and I will be starting on the other 2 members of this warband this week as well, just so I can get them finished up and move on to the next one. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. You can also join Discord using the link in the description, where you can share anything you have been hobbying on. For those of you looking to pick up some paint supplies or maybe Underworlds minis yourself, there is an affiliate link in the description to Wayland Games. There is no additional charge to yourselves, I just get a small commission to fund my hobby supplies. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful, don't forget to drop a like or subscribe. Most importantly though, be kind to each other.